morning, colleagues.
Good morning.
My name is Harriet Karen Mukajambo from Global Learning for Sustainability. So the She Leads Consortium is being implemented by 7 organizations in Uganda, in different regions in the country, central, east, and also northern Uganda. And our emphasis is to ensure that girls and young women can take a lead in decision-making processes where they have been discriminated or where they have not been involved. And areas such as education affect the girl child more, because when a girl drops out of school, I think it impacts the whole society, and also the essence of ensuring that girls stay in school must be, emphasized by bringing policies that protect, for example, teenage mothers, and also promote, affordable education in especially areas that are marginalized and vulnerable.
My name is Sandra Balyajusa, advocate for girls and young women under the She Leads program. I'm mentored by Integrated Disabled Women Activities. It's based in Iganga. Here, people with disabilities or children with disabilities are facing a lot of challenges in accessing their education. One, I'll talk about accessibility. Schools are not really accessible. For example, you might find a school with a RAM but not having teachers. For example, in Nakalama sub-county, we have one special needs teacher at Nakalama Primary School, but that teacher is handling from primary 1 up to primary 7. You come to get to know that we are also having a center for the blind, but accessing the braille is not really easy. I tried to interact with pupils there. They told me they access it only on Friday. You find it hard for us to access education. Coming to a girl child, period poverty is pulling us out of schools. On social media, you recently saw a post from Busoga where girls were using soil as pads. That's what we are facing. It's pulling us out of school. Another challenge, teenage pregnancy. Most of us are coming from rural areas, and when we come from rural areas, even poverty, our parents are poor. It's also pulling us out of school. You find out that we are leaving school to get special needs from men, and we eventually end up getting out of school. Another thing, Uganda's education is expensive. We find that our parents cannot afford it. I personally am a senior 6 dropout, but just because of my parents being poor, that's why I did not access university. And to us, people living with disabilities, we are really left behind because of the attitude of people we live with. Other parents believe girls and young women girls with disabilities should not access education. And the social norms for us in Busoga, others believe we cannot go beyond a certain limit when accessing education. You find us leaving school just because of our disabilities and being girl. And when we talk about gender, we are so much discriminated because of our gender. You add on our localities where we come from, you see that we are dropping out of school just because of that. I remain Sandra Balyajusa, an advocate for girls and young women from Integrated Disabled Women Activities based in Iganga. Thank you so much.
My name is Kagoya Resti. I'm a girl and young man representative from She Leads Uganda. I'm an advocate from the She Leads project, and then I'm the chairperson of the National Girls Desk, as well as the Girls and Young Women representative at the country network under the She Leads project. As a girl and young woman from Bujiri, in review to this policy, the following were noticed. The new education review of this policy that we are now reviewing, it is not covering all the expectations with the girls and young women. For example, it has tackled less on the following: the distribution of teachers in schools, the desk and pupil ratio in schools, and then the infrastructure. Picking a leaf from my locality, that is Bujiri district and Nabukal sub-county specifically, for Ranika parish, we don't have a community primary school. Learners are forced to go in for private schools which are not well equipped. That is to say, they have few classroom blocks, and most of the learners are studying under trees A case study is Victoria Nursery and Primary School, located in Ranica Parish, Ranica Central Village. Then also, Nabukawa Sub-County, it does not have a community secondary school. The whole sub-county, meaning children after the primary school, they are really facing challenges in coping up with the secondary school. Then also, Buluguya as a sub-county, there is a problem of teenage pregnancy. This is because of the escalating poverty, especially from our backgrounds. These people are unable to meet the needs of this expensive education system that we are now having, and now the policy has not come up with a solution to the hiked school fees requirements and also the needs in schools. Iwemba Sub-County, as a region in Bugiri Sub-County, also has a challenge of poor infrastructures. You may find that as a sub-county also, it is not well equipped with the infrastructures. That is to say, the existing schools don't have enough facilities to accommodate the population. This is also now a registered problem that has forced some students to drop out of school. And then the increased social norms, this one cuts across within Wajir district as a whole, where children, especially the girls, are forced to marry at a very tender age due to the increasing social norms that are really negative, and the policy does not come up clearly to address such an issue. As an advocate of Children's Project that works in the 5 implementing districts of Uganda, I would also partly talk about the Karamoja region that has the climate change effect, where learners are unable to access school because of the climate change effects, the too much sunshine, the drought. This one comes with the poor menstrual health and sanitation, which scares away students from attaining school. I remain Kaguya Resti, the chairperson of the National Girls Desk and an advocate from the Children's Project. Thank you.
My name is Nankabira Maria from Natete Muslim High School, a Form 3 student and the assistant head girl. Most of the challenges we face at school, with the new curriculum, we are having a busy schedule, both as students and the teachers. And whenever we have a busy schedule at school, sometimes we leave late school, you reach at home, you have your house chores to do, you come from school when you have homework, sometimes you get little time to rest. We also have the results and unfair rankings at school, where sometimes we are restreamed, whereby the best in education, they are in their own stream, and the others, they are in their own stream. It is nice to encourage others, but it does not feel, it's uncomfortable for the students. The inadequate relationship between us and our parents. Most of us, our parents, are working so that they can provide us education. They work excessively, even hence not giving any time to us. Yet in this world and with our education, parents need also to speak to us and guide us, because we are in our challenging years where we need guidance and counseling from our parents with our teachers. But mostly we need support from home before getting support from our teachers.
My name is Mutalia Innocent, a teacher at Natete Muslim High School. Apparently, I'm here to talk about the gender in education policy in line with the Ministry of Education and GLS. Personally, I have a mother who did not go to school, but just because the family treasured to educate the boy child. The entire family was prompted to sponsor the boy child, and all these young girls were working towards making sure that their boy child is educated. I feel very bad about that because I see my mother as a very intelligent woman. I just imagine if she had got the education as a girl child and she grew up an educated person, she would be far a better person and should be delivering great for this nation and the entire world. To talk about the gender in education policy in line with Natete Muslim High School where I teach, I appreciate the policy because as teachers we've taken on the initiative to do all that requires, or all that the policy calls for. We use the gender sensitive language. We make sure that we do not use language that is gender biased. We make sure that we engage learners at a balanced level. We give both sexes opportunities and we give all of them chances that are equal. We do not segregate them on particular grounds in line with differences and all that. However, this policy has setbacks, or there are some issues that really fail the policy from kicking off the best way. First of all, the reviews in the policy are minimal. Since the policy was initiated, there has not been any review in the policy. So there is need for revisiting of the policy. And now as teachers, given the new curriculum that was introduced in 2020, the designers of the curriculum assured us that the curriculum was organized for a class of 45 learners. But when I look at the classes that we handle, you realize that some classes are even doubling, tripling, and it cannot be passed on effectively. This affects the intentions of the builders of the policy. When you look at the other factors, like as we mind about gender sensitivity, you give learners equal opportunities, and when they go back home, they have issues that really turn them down. As we're empowering the girl child at school, when she goes back home, the parents show her that you are nothing, and this is the person that should be treasured. So as we build, they break. As we build, they break. And there is need for policymakers to mind about the other stakeholders in this. We need to emphasize sensitization of the parents or of the other people like the guardians who are in charge of the learners or the children after the teachers have dealt with the children.
We are partnering with Ministry of Education and the SHELEADS Consortium, where Global Learning for Sustainability is an implementing partner to share progress of the gender and education policy. A lot has been shared, but we still have challenges to make sure that we reduce inequalities in education. And there are very, emerging issues in education, like when you look at the current, enrollment rates and transition rates and also performance at various levels. They are very critical. But I would like to emphasize that government should also focus on promoting, fields that promote girls' education. When you look at, for example, the government policy on sponsorships, it is mainly focusing on science subjects. But we know the reason as to why girls and young women are not able to take up science subjects. It's because of the gender roles they play at home. So if you support implementation of policies that are discriminating, in nature, it means that girls and boys are going to be affected, because everything that affects girls in education affects boys. So we must make sure that education development partners and government implements policies and programs that promote equitable access to education to both girls and boys. Also, the education subsectors like ECDs are highly privatized. So you find that most of the children are not able to access, early childhood learning, and this is the foundation of learning. According to statistics, about 30% of ECD centers are concentrated in, only rural areas. So it means, they are concentrated in, urban areas, but you find that the rural areas do not have, quality and accessible, early learning, facilities and services. And this impacts on how children then are able to continue their education. Issues to do with violence. Violence is still at large. Girls still, are forced to get out of school because of teenage pregnancies, but who must be held to account. So if more investments are made in education, we will see parity and equitable access for all boys and girls. but also to note is, the changing, landscape of education. They need to make sure that curriculum is gender responsive and strengthening, infrastructure that supports girls and access, for boys, everyone, boys and girls to access education. So as she leads different partners, making sure that girls are given, knowledge, information, and skills to advocate for themselves. Girls are able to speak out. Girls are able to articulate issues and understand policies, so that they're not just talking about their rights, but do they know policies and can they contribute to the policies? Like in this discussion, you can see that some girls are really eager to contribute to this policy and understand, but also share challenges that girls are facing. And these are the recommendations that really Ashid's program would seek that the government takes on, or the policymakers can take on, to ensure that girls and young women are not discriminated. Like presenters really shared that there's still that kind of discrimination in education, and we must address that. And Uganda has not yet done well in education, though there are some improvements, of course, ever since this policy was implemented. But this is also an opportunity for us to, as CSOs, to share and bring strategies and solutions that can improve it in the next implementation.